So in this video, I'll tell you exactly how I got a full-time internship at DHL as an analyst, the world's largest logistic company, all while doing my masters. So this is not a success story, at least not at first, because when people say, yeah, I got an internship in Germany, it sounds very clean, like they came, applied, interviewed, and done. But that was not my experience, at least. So this took me around 1.5 years, and I want to show the real version, not the motivational version, not just work hard bro version, the actual version, how I finally got a full-time internship for 12 months at DHL in Germany as an international student, and how I almost quit before it happened. So before I tell my DHL story, I think I need to explain something. So I came to Germany thinking if I study hard, learn skills, make projects, getting an internship would be difficult, of course, but manageable. But I was completely wrong. Not because Germany is very impossible, but because nobody explained how much life happens in parallel. You still need to eat, you still need to pay rent, you still need to pass the university exams, you still need to learn German, and then after all that, you still need to compete. So at this point, I was applying very consistently. I was improving my projects, and CVs and applications were going out on a massive scale. And I started thinking, okay, maybe now something will happen because I had done enough applications. And actually, it did. I got my first proper interview at German company. I prepared very seriously. I remembered being excited because finally it felt like effort was turning into an opportunity. And the company was actually one of the leading companies in Germany. The interview actually went very well. I walked out of the interview thinking I might have a chance. Then, near the end, they asked me one question: what is your German level? I said A2. Nothing dramatic happened. No awkward silence, no reaction. Interview ended very normally. A few weeks later, rejection email. And that moment changed something for me entirely. Because until then, German was something I thought, yeah, I should improve eventually. And I would improve. After that, I understood for many roles, German is not a bonus. It changes the game, not because people hate English or not because they don't want international students to succeed, but because work is not only meetings. People eat together, talk together, build trust together, and language becomes part of that. That interview was one of the moments where I realized effort alone was not enough. I had to become easier to say yes to. So after that, German stopped being a future problem and became a part of the daily routine. A lesson well learned. So at some point, the process became ridiculous. This folder contains more than 500 CVs, and I had to delete many due to storage issues. So different keywords and different projects and roles. At one point, I had so many versions that I could not remember which company received which CV. So these are the number of LinkedIn application, but that's of course not everything, because many German companies don't use LinkedIn. They have their own portals. So the real number is higher, actually much higher. The weird thing is after enough applications, you just stop expecting replies. You apply, close the tab and just move on. And that's exactly how THL started. Nothing special, just another application, another tailored CV, another click on apply. I didn't know it then, but this one was a bit different, actually a lot different, because it worked. So the role was pricing analyst. I applied. A few days later, interview invitation, good sign. Then second round, even better sign. The third round, now I was thinking, okay, this might actually happen, because I was on the belief that companies don't spend time interviewing people they don't like, especially not three times. So I prepared harder, research, questions, mock interviews, everything. Then round 3 finished, and then rejection mail arrived. And honestly, I was not shocked. At that point, I had already seen enough rejection emails. So the next day, again, I opened LinkedIn, opened company portals, and continued applying because after 487 days, you don't stop every time something doesn't work out, right? So you just move on to the next application. The DHL process was finished, or at least from my side, and that's what I thought. A few weeks later, another email appeared from the same manager. I almost ignored it because in my head, the process was finished and I thought it would be sort of feedback form. I opened it anyway. What happened next completely surprised me. She remembered me and she had recommended me to another DHL team. Yeah, that's very unusual. At least I haven't seen it or heard about it. Think about that for a second. The interview I failed became the reason another opportunity appeared. If I had performed badly, that email would never happen. If I had treated the interview casually, that email would never happen. And if I hadn't prepared, that email would never happen. Suddenly, the rejection wasn't the end of the story, it was part of it. So I interviewed again, same company, but different manager, different team, and this time something felt a bit different. And it was not the questions, but me. I wasn't actually trying to impress anyone anymore. I wasn't desperately hoping this would work. I had already accepted rejection once and ready to accept another. So I just answered honestly, talked about my projects, talked about my experience, talked about what I knew and what I didn't knew. Then, surprisingly, they wanted me to join immediately. So the offer arrived same day and within hours. And the offer was 12 months full-time internship and the team was digital finance transformation at DHL. Sir, no more application, no more checking emails every morning, no more wondering if anything would ever work out. Just a contract, a start date, and a job.